What if I told you that a single policy shift in the 1990s transformed India from a closed economy to one of the fastest-growing economies in the world? Picture this. The year is 1991. India, a nation rich in culture and history, is on the brink of a severe economic crisis. With a dwindling foreign exchange reserve, the country is barely managing to stay afloat. A closed economic policy, which had been in place since independence, was proving to be more of a shackle than a shield. The future looked bleak, and something needed to change. Enter the International Monetary Fund, or the IMF. Seeing India's desperate state, the IMF offers a loan, but it comes with a catch. As part of the deal, India is required to adopt a more liberalized economic policy. This wasn't a mere suggestion, it was a condition that would push India to open its doors to the world. And so, the wheels of change started turning. At the helm were then Prime Minister Narasimha Rao and his Finance Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. Rao, with his political acumen, and Singh, with his economic expertise, made for a formidable team. Together, they initiated an economic reform that would alter the course of India's future. This reform was no ordinary policy shift. It marked the birth of liberalization in India. It was the dawn of a new era where India would gradually reduce government control over the economy and instead promote private sector involvement and foreign investment. It was a bold move, a leap of faith if you will, but it was a necessary one. The country was at a crossroads, and this was the path that beckoned. The stage was set, India was on the path of liberalization. But what exactly did this mean? To understand the implications, we need to delve deeper into the winds of change that swept across India in the wake of liberalization. But that's a story for another scene. Stay tuned. The 1990s brought a sea of change, not just in the Indian economy but also in the lives of its billion-plus population. This was a period marked by the winds of change, carrying with them a promise of growth and prosperity. The first gust of this wind was the devaluation of the Indian rupee. The government took a bold step and let go of the reins, allowing the rupee to find its own value in the international market. This was a significant departure from the past, when the value of the rupee was tightly controlled by the state. By letting the rupee float freely, India signaled its willingness to play by the rules of the global economy. The second gust was the reduction of import tariffs. Prior to the 90s, India had some of the highest import tariffs in the world. But as the winds of change blew, these tariffs were drastically reduced. This was done to encourage foreign goods into the country, promoting competition and quality. The third gust was the deregulation of markets. The government started to step back and let the invisible hand of the market take the wheel. Industries that were once heavily regulated were now free to innovate, compete, and grow. This deregulation brought an influx of new businesses and industries, boosting the economy and creating jobs. The final and perhaps the most significant gust was the invitation to foreign direct investment. For the first time, foreign companies were allowed to invest and set up operations in India. This not only brought in much-needed capital but also technology, expertise, and global best practices. But these changes were not just economic. They also had profound social implications. They initiated a cultural shift, bringing in new ideas, new attitudes, and new aspirations. The Indian consumer was no longer confined to locally made products, but had a world of choices at their fingertips. With these reforms, India had opened its doors to the world, but was the world ready for India? This question hung in the air as the winds of change continued to blow, shaping the future of the Indian economy. The liberalization of the 90s was not just an economic reform, it brought about a cultural revolution that changed India forever. Indeed, the liberalization of the Indian economy was a catalyst that spurred growth in various sectors, creating a ripple effect of prosperity and innovation. Let's delve into the impact of these reforms on different sectors. In the realm of information technology, for instance, liberalization unlocked a Pandora's box of opportunities. IT companies mushroomed across the country, transforming India into a global IT powerhouse. This led to the creation of millions of jobs and a significant boom in the country's export earnings. Next, the telecom sector. Prior to liberalization, owning a telephone was a luxury. Post-liberalization, the sector was thrown open to private players. The result? Exponential growth in telecom infrastructure and services. Today, India boasts one of the largest telecom networks in the world, with affordability that is second to none. In the aviation industry, liberalization led to the emergence of several private airlines, ending the monopoly of state-owned carriers. This increased competition, leading to better services, more destinations, and affordable fares for the Indian traveler. The retail sector too underwent a metamorphosis. From a predominantly unorganized sector, it evolved into a structured industry with the entry of several multinational and Indian retail giants. This led to the creation of countless jobs and improved shopping experiences for the Indian consumer. But the impact of liberalization wasn't just limited to these sectors. It gave birth to a new class of entrepreneurs, ushering in the rise of Indian multinationals. Companies like Infosys, Tata Consultancy Services, and Reliance Industries, to name a few, gained prominence on the global stage. Another significant impact was the growth of the middle class. With more job opportunities and increased incomes, India saw a substantial rise in its middle-class population. This, in turn, led to increased consumerism and a higher standard of living. But as with any transformation, this one too came with its set of challenges. As the Indian economy grew, so did its challenges. Every coin has two sides, and the liberalization of the Indian economy was no different. As with any significant policy shift, economic liberalization has been a subject of intense debate and scrutiny. While the benefits are often highlighted, it's crucial to acknowledge the challenges and criticisms that have emerged along the way. One of the chief criticisms is the claim that liberalization has led to increasing income inequality. While the free market has indeed allowed for massive wealth creation, critics argue that this prosperity has not been evenly distributed. The rich have become richer, while the poor remain entrenched in poverty. Environmental concerns have also been voiced. Rapid industrialization and unchecked growth can have severe ecological consequences. Critics point to the degradation of natural resources, increased pollution, and the endangering of biodiversity as signs that growth has come at an astronomical environmental cost. Furthermore, the impact on small businesses and farmers is another critical area of concern. As the Indian market opened up to foreign competition, many local industries struggled to keep up. The agricultural sector in particular has faced significant challenges. Small-scale farmers often find it difficult to compete with large, multinational agribusinesses, leading to distress and even farmer suicides. Moreover, the liberalization process has been criticized for being too focused on the urban sectors, often neglecting rural areas. Critics argue that this urban-centric approach has led to a widening rural-urban divide, with cities reaping the benefits of liberalization, while rural areas are left behind. To address these issues, it's essential to strike a balance between economic growth and social equity. Policies should be implemented that ensure the benefits of liberalization are widely shared, and that vulnerable sectors are given the necessary support to adapt and thrive in the new economic landscape. While the road to economic growth has not been smooth, there's no denying the tremendous impact liberalization has had on India. The journey continues, and as India navigates its path, it must learn from the past, address its challenges, and keep striving for a more equitable and sustainable future. 3 decades after the liberalization, where does India stand today, and what lies ahead? In the grand scheme of economic history, 30 years may seem like a mere blink, but for India, these years have been transformative. Since the advent of liberalization, India has embraced globalization and emerged as a significant player in the global economic arena. The country has transitioned from a closed, state-controlled economy to a thriving, market-driven one, with an increasing emphasis on innovation and entrepreneurship. Today, India stands as the world's 5th largest economy by nominal GDP, a testament to the growth spurred by liberalization. The country's middle class has expanded, and millions have been lifted out of poverty. Rapid advancements in technology and digitization, coupled with a young and dynamic workforce, have created a fertile ground for startups and innovation. However, the road ahead is not without its challenges. The country grapples with issues such as income inequality, an informal economy, and a need for further reforms in sectors like agriculture and labor. The recent global health crisis has also underscored the need for robust healthcare infrastructure and effective social safety nets. Yet, despite these challenges, India's economic potential remains immense. With its demographic dividend, vast market, and strategic geographic location, India is well positioned to play a pivotal role in the global economy in the coming decades. The country's ongoing efforts to improve ease of doing business, attract foreign investment, and foster innovation are promising steps towards realizing this potential. As India continues to navigate the path of economic growth, one thing is clear. The journey of liberalization is far from over. The country's economic narrative is a story still being written, filled with opportunities, challenges, triumphs, and lessons. If you enjoyed this video and found it informative, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Mr. Explainer, where we unravel complex topics for you one video at a time. Until next time, keep exploring.